Welcome to the podcast of disaster. I'm your host JCR1216, and joining me are my co-hosts.
Hello, I'm Jordan.
Hello, I'm Funfood the Cartoon. Many other people know me as Radar the Main Wolf.
And we have a special episode today. Everybody, please say hello to AvaArctic.
Hello, hello. I
Hello.
got kidnapped here, and then I've been told to talk about things.
Ha!
Yeah.
Now you know how it feels to be on the receiving end.
Yeah. We subjected them to Lano fish for 50 hours, like we do for every member of the podcast, whoever comes into the server. We're here to talk about some new things, aka Tangle and Whisper New Roads. So I guess we'll start off with the question: what inspired you to make it?
Um, so, so like when I joined I kind of came back to the fandom, sometime around was it like issue 30 of IDW? Let me see. And around that time, I had sort of discovered Tangle and Whisper, and I thought they were really fun characters at the time. I know we don't see them too much these days, and some people are kind of upset about that. I'm one of those. I hope we see them more. But at the time, especially, we hadn't seen them in a while in the comics. This is like a few years ago. So I wanted to do some more adventures about them. I thought it'd be really fun to bring these characters back and have some fun adventures, especially because there's like a large time gap in the comic. So this is like after the metal virus. There's like a bit of a time gap, and they just kind of don't show up for a bit until the test drive arc comes back and you see Tangle. And I think we actually did learn later on that there was going to be a follow up to Tangle and Whisper, but it just never happened. My guess also is that they probably like had the idea early on and kind of left room for that to be slotted in, but it was a case where if it didn't come through, then it wouldn't have taken away. But I think because of that early idea, we just never ended up seeing them much again, and that's kind of the long explanation as to what kind of started it. From there, I actually wrote a number of other story ideas. I have like five ideas that I worked on. One of them almost got made, but I wrote it out and I was a cheeky little potato and I changed the names and to like normal names. I gave it to a friend of mine to review and he liked it, gave me some suggestions and I fixed it up. It felt really great. We have one page drawn and I said, then I kind of looked over it again. I'm like, wow, this is cringe, and I threw the whole story away. I have it saved somewhere, but like, I feel like it's okay to write cringy stories, but I feel like there's stories that are kind of meant for everybody, and some stories are just kind of meant for you, and that's kind of what that one was. And it was still sort of like a learning point though. Like I kind of helped me get a good idea of what are some things that people might like, and what are some things that might not be great for like a bigger audience. So
I
with the more
completely understand that.
yeah. Like there's just some stories are kind of like meant for you to kind of like yourself to make, and some are just better for like for a general audience. So with that, I had this one idea of what if Tangle and Whisper had to stop some pirates. Um, this was kind of somewhat inspired by when I used to play Rust back in the day, where there's like a side quest of like raiding these like oil rigs off the coast. And I thought, oh, what if, we get some of the pirates from the Soul Dimension and they've like taken over this oil barge and they have to sort of, I think it was where to step in and try to like stop them. And with the reworking, it eventually turned into what we have it now, where it's, Tango and Whisper stopping a sort of reborn legionnaires that are trying to do not good things in the world.
Back to that point that you talked about earlier about making stories for a general audience and some for just being for yourself. As someone that has written a lot of stuff, especially in media and like I did the Son Angle Summer thing where I was just like I fully understand like feeling like what you're doing is kind of cringy at times, where it's like you're just trying to make it like the best you can be. I completely understand that.
Yeah, and I kind of would like maybe like backtrack a little bit. I think it's okay to kind of put stuff out there. I think it's just kind of you just kind of want to make sure that what you're doing you can also stand by, because sometimes you could write something that some people might find cringy, but there might be an audience for it. Just don't expect everyone to be an audience for what you want. Like you might have people who like it, and some people won't. Like I definitely have people who don't like my comics, and that's fine. We just disagree and we move on with our life.
I completely agree with that point. To me, that's one of the beautiful things about writing, though, especially when you're writing creatively. You know that you're writing for an audience. To me, whenever I write, it's like it's like for your like you're doing this for yourself, and like you're doing this for the people that you want to It's like when you're making like a restaurant and you serve donuts, but they're like a specific type of donut. If that makes sense.
You say donut, but I know we have the state fair going on, and there's like fried donut hamburgers dipped in batter and probably slatted in peanut butter and sprinkles at the state fair right now.
Just here that made me gain 5 pounds.
Yeah. Oh man, speaking of state fair, there was a thing going around where apparently one of the swing rides got stuck 100 feet up in the air, and people were just sitting up there hoping they could come back down and not get hurt. That was kind of scary, but at the same time, oh my gosh, oh my goodness.
I went on the Ferris wheel at Disneyland back in June, and like I thought it was stuck for a second, and like I like oh my god,
My
like
goodness.
that is definitely like I don't have a fear of heights anymore, but that almost rebooted that feeling.
I mean, definitely, especially because that's just a lot of, dangerous steel that could just hurt somebody. Oh, indeed.
Well, let's get on to the next segment. Floof, do you have any questions for Ava?
Not really. I just wanted to let Ava's introduction speak for itself.
Mhm.
Speaking of introduction, oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say is that like I didn't know. I actually had no idea that the original concept was meant to be a story set in Blaze's dimension, which you know it's like because Ava's told me a few things about the lore and how New Roads works, and now it's like supposed to fit in with the rest of IDW to like fill in that gap in between where we didn't see Tangle and Whisper. And I think now it's funny to consider the fact is like after Sonic had just came back from Blaze's Dimension, it's like here's Tangle and Whisper ending up there. But the whole this outcome is also just as good because well, I mean, we still are barely just seeing little glimpses of Blaze's world to begin with. I mean, we just had the Sonic picked artwork for this month drop, so that was fun to witness. But it also goes to show it's like, man, we really do need to see more of like these other worlds and such.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah. I think we eventually will, because kind of what I suspected what they as in Sega was going to do has kind of been happening now, where I sort of predicted, like, in the late 20 teens, they are doing essentially a big, like, reset, like a soft reboot of things, and sort of trying to clean up and organize what they have, and then start to roll it out over time over the 2020s. And I think Origins and Frontiers were sort of the kickoff point, and then we're going to see more of that in the main lines. It's just the comics have to stay in line with whatever's in the main line, so their hands are kind of tied until the mainline stuff comes out. And unfortunately, that takes a long time. Like, those games take a long time to make, so it might be a little bit, but I think we might start to see more.
We don't really we can't really expect to know what Sega is up to every now and then. So sometimes it's just best to just wait it out, and
Yeah.
we see exactly what happens from then on.
Yeah.
But this is why the fandom is so creative with filling in a lot of like what we would have hoped to have seen. And it's like like shout out to Corn Art for starting that huge movement for Silver's future. It's like stuff like that can happen, and it's like, yeah, hey Sega, think you can surprise us? That'd be great.
Yeah, that was really cool. I only caught a few glimpses of it, but it is neat what people can do. And that's also kind of what I was doing, where I kind of wanted things to be sort of, fit within the continuity. Because even though people say, oh, be free of your ideas, I think it's kind of a fun challenge actually try to make it somewhat compliant with what the guidelines are. If you've read my comic, though, you'll see I kind of broke one of the big rules, but I think it's actually kind of fun to try to like find something that could, has like canon plausibility, so to say.
And I
That's what
respect.
I also. Floof, you go first.
I was just saying, I just wholeheartedly respect that, people trying to fit into those barometers that are set. It's not like, I mean, the people behind the actual comic are like, they do that on a very regularly basis. So it's like, if any single one of us, still trying to attempt to climb up the ladder ends up actually making it to the top, it's like some of us would actually have the experience of doing so, fitting in with that good old Sega of Japan style that is what would I say? What could I say here? Satisfactory? Sure, let's go with that and not set Twitter off.
Oh no. Yeah, I've been kind of reeling back from Twitter a bit more these days, just kind of sticking to Discord servers. Twitter's just oof. Pancake the Walk.
If there's one thing the Sonic fandom can agree on is that Twitter is bad.
I know.
Eh,
I want to move on from Twitter, but I have to use it because for outreach.
you
and stuff.
have work to do.
The other thing as well is my job takes up so much time. I want to just sit back and just write a bunch of silly comics and stuff.
Yeah. But when it comes to writing, I'm just trying to stay in from what we know about the mandates, besides breaking one rule. Yeah, I agree with that because that's what I feel like a lot of writing I'm not what should try to do, but I feel like to try to angle that as someone that loves creative writing and as someone that just loves randomly going on a. Do you read fan fiction, Ava?
Not anymore because I was a big fan fiction person in the 2000s, and if anyone knows anything about the 2000s, things were unhinged and crazy. So I try not to think back on the 2000s again.
Um,
but
I'm
sorry.
still in my young fanfic age. I'm only 18.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I think any kind of person in fandom should have that kind of fun stuff. There's a reason people say be free, be cringe, because when you look back, no one's going to notice, or no one's going to care. It's just have fun with things.
Yeah, that's what I love about creativity in general, especially just have fun with it. It does to me. It doesn't matter as long as it's not an obvious bad thing that you're
Oh
that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
with your power. And I believe it should be fine. It's like no one should police somebody else's imagination.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of imagination to bounce off of that, yeah, I think when it comes to writing, it's okay to be very imaginative, but I think it's almost more fun or more satisfying if you're able to set boundaries for yourself. I sort of compare creative freedom to okay, this is a family-friendly podcast. Candy, let's call it
It's
candy.
actually not. It's not a family friend. We swear. It's like a
Oh, okay, okay,
PG-13.
good. Okay, no, yeah. So then, creative freedom's like drugs. A few of drugs are okay, but if you have too much, you're gonna burn and crash out entirely. That said, though, I don't do drugs. I don't even drink. I don't even smoke. I don't even vape. But the idea is still there. If you have a whole bunch of ideas, then go crazy with it. Then it could be a bit of a mess. But if you're able to kind of balance things right, you can have a good experience in the end of the story.
I treat it like the MPAA. Okay, what type of story am I writing?
Yeah,
Is this
exactly.
is it like a G, PG, PG-13?
Yeah,
Whenever I'm writing a Sonic story, I try my best to keep that PG, maybe PG-13 territory. Fun fact: the original first Sonic movie was supposed to be PG-13.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's kind of
Yeah.
wild they would actually do that. Yeah, the story that I was working on was very much a sort of PG-13 thing. Because I remember it was going to be sometime after Forces. The Restoration was having trouble keeping things together. They fire out something equivalent to the Jackal Squad, but not exactly the original Jackal Squad to help out with things because oh, the whole world's in disarray after Forces. Um, they're trying to take out some of the Eggman bases, but then there's some double crossing between some of the other mercenary groups. It was very edgy. There's infighting. There's some people being just killed, and it's hmm. Uh, yeah, I probably should not release this at all. And I'm kind of glad I did in the end. Because you can have some dark moments, but I still think if you know your audience, what's a good level of it. And I think that's kind of some of my 2000s fan fiction era kind of squeaking in there. But I'm kind of glad I kind of pushed that down a little bit because I think everyone ends up liking New Roads and how I've taken things. Oh yeah, and me kidnapping Floof as well.
Infighting in the Restoration, you say, huh?
It wasn't infighting it wasn't exactly infighting the Restoration. It was more of the mercenary squads fighting and getting into sort of altercations with the Restoration. There's gonna be one part where Whisper was framed for something, and they have to bust her out to get her free and clear her name. But this kind of felt something that you just wouldn't expect from the characters. It was very very out of character, and just sort of it just wasn't Sonic in the end. It just wasn't. That said, though, I've actually taken not the exact scripts, but some of the ideas and concepts, and I'm actually working on my own original thing. And some of the ideas here and there are being borrowed for that. I am rewriting the scripts entirely, so that script's not gonna see the light of day. And I might even release the comic page that we wrote eventually. Sorry, the comic page that was drawn for this story. I might release that one day. Maybe after New Roads is finished, I'll release it, kind of a behind the scenes thing, just to kind of see how how things evolved from this dark, edgy fan fiction from a 2000s writer to the New Roads that it really opened a lot of doors for me, and I've met so many people through it. I never would have met them before had it not been for the comic.
Did I got spoiled with the whisper part being framed?
Oh no! This was just something. This was just an idea that I had for
Oh.
the script that I threw out. Yeah, no, it's nothing. It's not tied to like or anything anymore. It's just it was an edgy idea, and I threw it out. And as Ian says, be prepared to kill your babies. In this case, this baby is now very dead.
No.
I have other scripts as well. There was one where it's going to be like Tangle and Whisper have to go like find this old base, and it's the base that like Starline like blew himself or like tried to like blow Silver up in during the metal virus, and there's gonna be like an additional like lab down below, and there's gonna be like and like some of the old like shadow androids, and it's gonna kind of be sort of like a nice sort of torture your characters but also be nice to them sort of thing. So give Whisper some bad memories of what happened, but just have Tangle there to kind of support her. So just sort of you know hurt your characters a little bit, but then heal them back up. Um, my friend really liked it. She really liked the story. She's a huge Tangle and Whisper fan. And we were actually going to make that. We were really close to, and the idea was is that story would come out first, and then it would have led into New Roads. However, just sort of how things ended up going, New Roads got started first, and the idea was is I was going to have two people doing pencils. One of them now is Lightbell. She does all the pencils for New Roads. She had started on the New Roads one, and I had a friend of mine who is an old he's the boyfriend of an old friend of mine from an MMO I used to play, and like we've known each other like 10 years now. He was going to do the pencils for this story, this other one that got cut. But he got busy with school and just didn't have time, so we ended up just canceling it. And then the more I thought about it, it's like, we've already got like 6 pages of New Roads drawn. Let's just release New Roads. And yeah, that's kind of how things ended up going. So that story kind of got scrapped. And honestly, now it's probably for the better because making fan comics takes a lot of time, especially when you have like a really busy schedule and can't kind of commit to everything. So I think it was better in the end because if we didn't, we'd only just be getting to like issue 2. We're like finishing up issue 2, like today, because that would have taken a long time to have made. Um, yeah, comics are fun. They take a long time.
That's something I was actually gonna like ask you about. I've done like I've written for like mini comics. Obviously I've written fan fictions like Pursuit of Ambition and like Stars Align, that type of stuff that's like long. But I've never made something like comic long. I do plan on applying to do the fan annual next year as a writer.
Mhm.
Um, Lanofish one shot win. But
I will say we do have guidelines, but I don't want to discourage you from still trying out.
We can sneak in
yeah,
a yellow fish plushie in the background.
yeah,
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. What is it like making a comic, fan comic, let alone like a comic in general?
For me, I find it really fun because so I don't do my own art. I wanted to do art, but I never got around to it. However, writing is a thing I've done forever. I have so many old writing scripts, like pieces of paper just folded up, thrown into a box. Um, the writing has kind of been my thing. But also I also manage like projects, and that's actually what I do for work. Is like I'm an administrator at my job, but also manage like oversee a number of projects. And for me, I think it's really fun to be a part of something that you're there, seeing it like, from concept to the final product is a really fun process. But it can be very time consuming because you're managing people, but you're having to kind of balance and, because you're doing with people, you want the thing to be done, but you don't want to push them. You don't want to, put too much pressure on them. You got to work up with their schedule. Um, but when everything kind of comes together, it's sort of like that. It's the journey, and I think the journey is often very fun. Because it's all this progress. And like, look, we did this. It's really fun. It's just so fun, especially when we got to the point where we actually printed our comic as well. Like we went from this was a silly idea I had like 3 4 years ago to I've made a comic book. You know, we've made this comic book. It's so cool. It's actually how I met a number of really cool people, like Salty DKD and Brandon Blanks. I even have to give a copy to a few of the artists that they'd heard of it. Hi Tyler, hi Chris. Yeah, it's really fun. Sorry, I kind of like reminiscing a little bit. If I hope I answered your question.
Fine, it's fine. This is your episode to go wild.
Crazy, right?
I've made a TV show, so it's kind of interesting. I made a TV show called Some Idiots. So I know a little. So when you're describing that comic process, it kind of does remind me of the process I went through while making a TV show.
Mhm.
A lot of directing involved. There's a lot of like writing that you have to like need to do in order to like managing all the schedules, like making sure everyone is like satisfied with the product, making sure the editing is good. Like I fully understand that process a little bit better now for
Mhm.
that because whenever you're making something, especially when it comes to storytelling, you do have to make sure everybody is on board. Everyone is like trying to keep that coordinated. That's why even though I do the writing and directing and the acting, but I fully get where you're coming from as someone that doesn't also do their own art. As you can see, we as recently as today, we commission a lot of talented artists here for the podcast.
Mostly to get Yanofish.
It's very yeah, Lano. We all love Lano fish here, right, Floof?
Puts a gun into your head, right, Phil?
The silence. Oh no, Floof, no, don't die.
So Ava, how's the production of the physical release for issue 2?
Yeah, actually, we were just talking about that the other day. So what it is I use a platform called Mixam, Mixam. They are in like a independent book printer service. And what's great is that they're really great for small batches. Um, so it has like a really convenient app that you just upload everything, and it helps build your book, and then you can just do small orders, and they don't charge you a bajillion dollars. That said, what's great is you can see how the pages look on the book before it's printed, and what we've noticed is some of the pages don't fit the right resolution, and that's sort of an issue that was my fault, where partway through production, I didn't provide the correct template for our artists to use. So because of that, a few of the pages are not quite the right size. They are now going forward, fortunately. Um, but what we'd have to do is my co-editor, well, Ace is like my editor, but they also did the letters and do a lot of great stuff. Ace is very knowledgeable on a lot of that stuff. I probably wouldn't have the comic up now if it wasn't for Ace. They're amazing. So we have to go back and probably fix a little more than no, a little less than half the pages and get them the right like resolution, and then we're good to print. So we can just reuse the editorial pages, so like staff credits, um, extra like pages that just kind of fill the page because like the page count because there's a few pages you have to well depending on the size of the book you have to fill out a certain number of pages, and so say you have like a 40-page book, you might have to include like 46 pages. Sorry, I'm kind of throwing numbers. That means you have to fill in some of the extra spots. But I'm hoping soon. I was really hoping to get it going this year, but 2025 has not been a good year for a lot of people, and a lot of things have kind of gone wrong, and my job has had me super stressed, so I've not been able to really focus on it, so it's kind of been on the back burner, especially since issue 3 got delayed so much, which was also my fault, so I wanted to get issue 3 out first before I could work on printing. I'm hoping we can maybe start, well, holy crap, it's almost November already. Yeah, we'll probably start again closer, maybe like in like middle of November or maybe like the beginning of the new year. I do want to get it printed. I do want to get the next issue printed
And
really
then
badly.
yeah, no, I asked because I was also one of the lucky people who you encountered me with to get a physical copy of issue 1, and I also put it in the side chat just because in case editing were to permit it, we can show off like that photo preview of the physical copy itself. And of course, yeah, I am really excited for issue 2 because that that is a certain little someone's debut as part of a bunch of incidentals, which actually brings me up to my next question, if it's okay, JCR.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ava, what gave you the inspiration to, as both me and you know how you do it, kidnap a bunch of OCs and put into your little project? Where did that even stem from? Like, why? Just why specifically?
Um, excuse me, coughing. I think for me, is I wanted to include a bunch of people who've just kind of been there on the journey a bit for me. I know journey is sometimes kind of a word that's overused or the term is kind of, smeared a bit, but it has kind of been like a journey making these, and a lot of people have kind of been there, whether it's like people who've helped me directly or just people who've inspired me. And so I feel like cameos are sort of a fun way to kind of, kind of give back a little bit, but also I think it's just kind of helped make things more interesting. And also part of part of the win-win is I don't have to design as many background characters. Now that's one of the big part. Well, that's not the biggest part. The biggest part is just to kind of give back. Let people see their characters interacting with others. Like I think 'cause a lot of us want to have our characters show up in the comic, and thanks to Senora Penders, it made it a little bit harder. But unfortunately, we have seen more characters show up in the official comic. Good old Bite showed up. Garfield, the lasagna cat, showed up.
Yeah, I noticed Bite. I did not expect her to show up.
There's been many different cameos thanks to the artists. There's been characters that belong to the artists themselves. There's been characters that are meant to be the artists, friends of the artists or the writers. I know I can give like a few little shout outs here and there because I'm very knowledgeable about this stuff. Like you said, yes, Bite from Abigail Oz or Dr. Starline, whoever knows them best online.
I mentioned them.
Thinking of some others, cameos from Garfield, characters from Miraculous showing up in the comics.
Oh yeah. The Bunny Antoine reference.
Many different background characters meant to be like cameos of Archie characters. Well, not intentionally them. It's a nice design nod in a sense.
Yeah.
Characters from completely different franchises. Again, there's been characters from Animal Crossing showing up. Trying to think here. It's just a lot to go through, like let's see, characters that belong to streaming artists and streaming gamers and such. I know a few of them particularly. Even people that you probably wouldn't have expected to have been like, oh man, like wait, you look at them and they're actually from the comics. Like Evan Stanley's characters from her old webcomic, Ghost of the Future. I know those two are always like the ones that are like, oh hey, I remember them. Man, they're in Sonic now. I don't know, it's just really funny. Cameos to Hatsune Miku before Hatsune Miku was even in a Sonic game. I know. Even cameos from characters that are even from other Sonic games, like the Murder of Sonic cast. Like, it's just nice to see, like, they don't have to contribute to anything in the story. It's just nice to see them again.
It makes the world feel like more connected, and like there's a lot of it gives like more like character to the background, because like if you've read like Archie, you'll often notice there's just a lot of like nobody background characters, and but then you kind of have the polar opposite with Archie, where a lot of the background characters were supposed to be very integrated to everything, Ken Penders. But in this case, I think this is like the calmer side, where the background characters are interesting in IDW, but they're not always like integral to like the main plot. They're just sort of there, and that's fine. And it also kind of it's a neat way to kind of tie in the fandom without having to, do much stuff like
open up everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, it's nice that you want to do that, just because it's like, who knows if anyone's going to really be able to get into like something like IDW. It's like, whether they're an artist or if they're like included because they know some of the artists. Again, I'm thinking back to this one cameo in Chow Races where Evan's friend, if any of you know who Bobby Schroeder is, her persona has made a cameo because Evan was watching her streams. And it was a whole Sonic Chronicles reference with the specific Chow. And it's little fun things like that. And I know that. I know
exactly.
And that's kind of why it's so cool to see like these characters show up even in fan comics. Like I know I've seen so many different examples of fan comics, including fan characters and such. It's like they could either be like little one shots, full stories, and something in between. Like even in like animation projects, it's like it's what brings us all together. And
it's crushing in your 30s or crushing in your 40s with characters.
So it's like it's very cool that you've decided to like give a little shout out to some of these creators and creatives and everything. And thanks to you, I even follow some of them now after this point. It's like every time I've seen like a cameo in the book, it's like, oh, time to follow them. Yippee!
Yep.
I still feel like I'm missing a few though, but that's just on me though.
Oh no, you're fine. There's so many projects out there.
Yeah. Yours amongst the many, but also yours amongst the very, 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 very selective case of showing up in literal comic book websites. Even like I'm sure you're aware how far New Roads has come, but it's like I'm not certain comic book viewing websites have featured it, and it's like, oh wow, why is my character on a comic book site? Why are these characters in a comic book site? What is my friend doing on a comic book site? And it's like, wow, it's like amongst all the IDW comics, the Archie comics, the 1990s manga, all the other official books Sega's put out and everything. It's like, wow. Same thing goes for all those other official the other official and fan comics out there too. It's like, wow, you've made it. You've made it. It's very cool. I don't know. I think my mind just blanked there for a second, and all I could do was just praise. And it's like, I can't think of anything else to say. JCR, can you take the reins while I gather my thoughts again?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's something that is like really interesting. It's always great to see insight on stuff like this. So how would you so for the people who are new to New Roads and stuff, how many issues are completed so far?
So we're at 2 issues, but they are a bit longer than the normal like IDW stuff. IDW is usually about 20 pages. New Roads, each one is about close to 40 pages. And also these are released on a semi sort of monthly schedule. I try to get a release out every month, and every release is 4 pages. Um, we are sort of slacking a little bit, and by we I mean I am with this month due to I had to move. I actually just got the last box moved over this past Saturday, so it took a long time. But we are also trying to pad out our release a little bit. But by padding I mean we want to kind of over prepare, because before we had a so with issue 1 we had a lot of material prepared beforehand, so it was a lot easier to release. But when issue 2 came out, we were just sort of releasing when it was ready. But that created a lot of stress with the schedule and stressing out the artists, and the letters. Oh, and the letter. So now what we do is have it so that the next 4 pages are ready before we release it. So like before we release part 3, which was supposed to be out this month, we might even get it out this month or at least next month. But before we can release 3, we gotta have part 4 ready, and so that way we always have something prepared in case something were to go wrong. But right now we need to finish up part 4, and then we'll release part 3. Part 3 just needs to be lettered as well, but the art's there. I can maybe even like drop a panel preview. Actually, I'm gonna go to the server right now. We manage everything through a server.
That's really interesting because it kind of reminds me of when I was doing Some Idiots, which is the name of my show. So that way, like, no one gets offended, like me saying just the word "Some Idiots." That's one of the things I actually regret about making about the show is like naming it that. Like I understand because when I would send off the show to get edited, I would always make sure before we get a release date down, we would have everything else like done beforehand because we all, I'm sure as you know, as somebody that has produced media now, you always stress that release date.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh my god, is everything good? Like, is everything good? Everyone's okay, right? Like it just feels like the universe is about to explode.
Yeah, like that especially hit me because both for issue 2 and issue 3 we had very long delays. So because before we tried to sort of rest around the holiday season, but with kind of just how my schedule's been, things would come up. The holidays are always really busy with me because of all the family stuff, but also just kind of how the sort of the stars aligned. I'd usually have to end up moving apartments shortly after the new year, and so that always added a lot of unnecessary stress. It's like I just got finished moving now, but like back in February and March, I was working on moving, and then the year before it was kind of similar. Um, Unfortunately, my state is having struggles with the that lawsuit with that one company who is like artificially increasing prices of housing here, so it's created a lot of problems. And I go through one lease, and then the prices start to go up, and can't afford a house, so it's a mess. So
As someone that had to move in like less than 72 hours recently, I fully get that. Oh my god, moving is a terrible thing.
moving will take it out of you, and on top of that, it's a very like stressful job that I work. It just kind of adds on, but yeah, so I essentially had these like long 6 month hiatuses, and I didn't get work done, and I felt bad. Now we're kind of back on track. Things are going good
I
again.
totally get feeling bad when you're when you're not working on a project that everyone else is wanting to work on. If that makes sense. It's
I do,
like,
yeah, because the people I work with, they've liked working on New Roads, and I'm happy. And I feel bad when I can't get them to work on it, or when they can't work on it. It's just because I have to work on the writing, because I know like issue 2 had a late rewrite, and that really screwed up things. And I say rewrite, it's more of just fixing some issues that I had with the script. I actually even released that page a while back where I originally like the story that I had just it felt so boring, and the rewrite I think kind of helped shake things up a bit. If I go on like a slight tangent though, like that's just one thing when it comes down to writing a fan comic is you have to sort of balance both the resources you have to dedicate towards each issue, but also respecting the reader's time and kind of getting to the point. Um, Someone actually brought this up in the comments where they kind of like they weren't sure about what was happening, and I had to sort of explain like, I tried to show it, what was going on in the comic, but maybe it wasn't communicated as well because you're sort of limited in how many panels you can have, and it's really easy to want to go like have a lot of explanation and story, but then you don't want to repeat what Penders did. Like I know one thing, the original cut of New Roads was going to have Ellie Nicole actually be very apprehensive and antagonistic towards Tangle and Whisper. Sort of like, you know, like like, oh, you're part of the restoration, but you weren't there to help us when things were going bad. But they still needed to sort of team up, and so I wanted it so that maybe there was some apprehension, there was some tension between them, and you can kind of see that at the end of issue one. But at the time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be like apprehensive or a fake out. And then like as I was working on writing it, it's like this is going to require so much explanation because I don't want to railroad the story and force them to be together because it feels like Whisper wouldn't want to work with these people if they're being apprehensive. And it just wouldn't be in character. It'd just be like me forcing them to bending their characteristics to move the plot forward. And so with that change and that rewrite, that's kind of how we got the sort of fake out that issue two opens up with. And I think it's for the better because if I were to move forward with it, like this is one thing we don't always think about making a comic is you have to figure out, how many panels are you going to need to tell the story? And what would end up happening is if I had to sort of explain things, there's going to be like 4 to 6 pages of yapping going on just to sort of get these characters to work together when there's an emergency happening right around them. We don't want them yapping so long, and because it stalls the story, it stalls the action, but also these issues take about a month to come out. That's almost 2 months that the readers have to sit through yapping when things could just be like, hey, let's work together, we're on the same side, let's move. And that ended up being a lot faster. Even though I had the explanation, that at least shaved off maybe like a month of development time to kind of push things forward. Sorry, that was a really big tangent.
It's fine. As I said before, this is your episode to go crazy.
And I know exactly, and what Ava was talking about. I know exactly what, I believe I know what specific cut part that they were talking about, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what they was talking about. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I actually think the outcome for issue 3 is a lot better.
Yeah,
It's definitely funnier too.
Oh yeah, like gosh, I'm thinking now like the original cut. Yeah, the original cut of issue two was very different because it was going to have. And some people have asked about it, hey, where's Rotor? Rotor was actually in the first cut of New Roads too. It was going to be he's working for the bad guys. Um, and it was going to be like he sort of gets swayed to work with the good guys. But what I wrote just had so much talking. Gosh, do I have that script still? I think I have it somewhere on the server. Um, let's see, story notes. Gosh, let's see. Yeah, it was just. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it was just like we were up to like 14 pages, and things just still weren't progressing. It was like a bunch of talking and a bunch of yapping, a bunch of just side explanations, and it was just not moving forward. So yeah, that's why I had to end up kind of cutting Rotor, but I think it worked out. And with issue three, the original cut was going to be a bit slower. Like I was going to be like, oh, they're sneaking around, they're doing these objectives all quietly, like, oh, you know, Sally Nicole disable parts of the building again, Tangle and Whisper free everybody. But it's like this is too predictable. And at the time, there is this one YouTuber, Sarah Zed. She does some really great videos on just kind of like on like different like topics. But I like a lot of her stuff that kind of indirectly talks about writing. And some of y'all might laugh. Some people might laugh, but there is a episode she did on Homestuck, and yeah, I guess you could say Homestuck somewhat inspired, like, well, helped change New Roads a little bit. But there's a part where she's talking about some of the later releases of Homestuck. I think it was one of the big like specials like after Act 5, where it was like they have this plan and they execute it and nothing goes wrong, and they just do the plan, and it was kind of boring. And I'm like, that's kind of where New Road's going right now. Like the plan's happening, there's no wild cards. It's just going to be they go from point A to point B to point C, they fight a bad guy, that's it. That's boring. So if you've read issue 3 or the end of issue 2, there's a massive explosion, which is me metaphorically throwing a wrench into the generator to blow up all the goodwill happening at was all the goodness going on to make things all hectic and chaotic. And I think it's paid off, especially with the Lilo and Stitch reference in issue 3. You know what I mean?
In
Yep.
in almost sacrifice for the rest of us.
Yep. Yeah, fortunately no one's hurt. It's just now the building's on fire. Yep.
And considering the fact that it's the chemical plant of all things, I hope there's enough personnel over there.
Yep. Yeah.
But
Sorry.
no. So that I guess now, I guess I have like technically one more question on my end for you, and then since it's an interview with you, and I'm also here, I figured would it be funny if we talked about our little history together that led to certain things happening?
Oh yes.
Yeah, but first, my question is, this should have been like the most important question we should have started with, like after JCR told his first. Is that like, can you tell us about all of the ideas that you went into redesigning the Freedom Fighters, like their story, where they're from, what they're doing, and just like fitting them into the Sega Sonic canon and such? Like, and if you could also tell me, because I never asked you, I should have asked you so many months ago. Just like, how do you even spell the town that they're from again? Because it's screwing me up all the time.
It's Gaelic. I think it's Ursha. So outside of being a bit of a weeb, I'm also a bit of, I really like Gaelic. I think it's an interesting language, so I wanted to include Gaelic as like a town name. But also that kind of goes into part of the redesign a little bit, where so like in the book they're not called like the Freedom Fighters, but I kind of wanted to make a nod to it. So I used the word for freedom, so it's kind of Freedom City. That's kind of where that came from.
I see. I guess he sort of like.
Yeah.
I don't know. How have I been pronouncing it? Saros? I think that's as close as I've gotten to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry. To get back to the question though. Yeah. No. So originally they weren't a part of the script. I think it was just more of I had an idea and we were just kind of going with it. And then at the time, I decided to get back into just finishing Archie because I'd read IDW, I'd caught up, and it's like I started reading Archie like, gosh, at this point, literally decades ago now. Oh, I feel old. I started reading it decades ago, and it's like they're all out on the internet now. Let me just kind of see. Let me kind of go back and finish like some of the issues I couldn't because back in my day, you couldn't read them all. You had to go to different pirate sites and usually they got taken down. I remember actually there's this one old fan site that would it didn't like host the comic, but they would like take snippets of certain panels out of context, like showing some of the wild moments of Archie. I'm pretty sure that site is now long gone, like many old fan sites. But I remember like kind of scouring through there, reading a bunch of like weird moments with like no context at all, and it's great. Um, but yeah, so I eventually did kind of go back and read Archie, and it's like what? Yeah, I do kind of miss a lot of the old characters. And at the time, a few years ago that is, everyone's saying that they want the Freedom Fighters back. They want Archie to come back. One thing I noticed that no one actually like went in, or that there weren't that many people going and trying to bring them back themselves. Just like Genesis Distance, what Nintendo Innocence, or whatever that one meme is. And like, how about I just do what Sega will and just do it myself. I also don't want to discredit those who have done it already. There's Archie Sonic Online, which I've now been a part of. I got pulled onto recently. So hi ASO. I'm under the ASR branch for post reboot. There's also Archie.
I'm actually thinking about applying to be a part of the writers. I saw that they're interested in getting more writers. I've been throwing an idea around.
Do note that it is for pre-reboot. Currently, it's not post-reboot.
I'm currently going through pre-reboot because we actually are going to be starting a new show on the podcast where we go through the history through like every single issue of Archie ever.
Oh man.
Yeah, like we're going back to like the old Archie as well. Just to, like, it's called Archie. I tried to make a pun and it was like so difficult to like figure out. Okay, what would be the perfect pun to do this?
The Genesis wave of disaster.
I would love to have the skills that both of you have as writing. Because oh boy,
I
my thing would get me
I wouldn't
canceled.
consider myself. I don't consider myself a skilled writer. I think it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I wrote for myself, but also I found something that like people like and sort of provided what people were looking for. So, yeah. And so like there weren't that many people like actually going out there and trying to do their own thing. I know there was the Rally for Sally group. They did some stuff, but I know that kind of fizzled out a bit due to various internet dramas. But there weren't that many people like making their own comics, and it's like well let me do it. If IDW is not going to bring the freedom fighters in, how about I sort of meld them in? So it was sort of like halfway through issue 1 I decided to do it, and it was like a smug secret between like me and like the creators. 'Cause, like I have like a friend group that we all kind of hang out in the same Discord, and not even some of them knew what I was doing. So this is like a big surprise for a lot of people. And actually, I think even the Rally for Sally, like Twitter even noticed when I had the big reveal of the characters, like, oh my gosh. And I still like see posts to this day where people are like, when did Archie and IDW work together? And it's actually kind of funny. I do like seeing some of those posts. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Archie, and then people are like, oh no, it's a fan comic, and they kind of like dealing a little bit. Um, that said, though, they kind of touch on recent things. It does feel awkward though when like I have people say like, oh, I wish this would, I wish we had stuff like this over IDW. It's like, give the IDW people a break. They work hard. They're all those people are really nice, amazing creators, amazing writers. Daniel Stratnick, just don't bug these people. Like Danny and everybody do amazing work. Don't discredit them. Don't undermine them. Like they do really cool stuff. Right from the original question a bit. So yeah, so that's kind of the why. It was like there was a gap, and I wanted to fill that gap with content. So from there, I don't really know how I got the idea. I think it was what was it? Because like I had like inspirations for both the characters, and I forgot why I brought it up. I think maybe I was going through some old anime clips, and I think that sort of sparked the idea to put them in. And it comes from Nicole is inspired by a character from Kill la Kill, who is like this computer hacker guy, and he's got like keyboards all over his body, and I'm like, that is basically Nicole in a way, minus the really weird suggestive posing the guy will do when he's typing, because Nicole's not that type of character. But the outfit idea was really close. So we took that and we worked it to what we have now. Sally is not as interesting, but if you're like old boomer shooter fan, she is inspired. Her outfit is inspired by the assassins from Half-Life 1, and I think I even have the original concept art we did somewhere. Let me check. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I got like this whole like folder of like references and stuff we did. That is a doodle of two characters kissing. That's not what we need.
I can only guess, knowing you, which two characters are kissing.
Yes. Let's see. Is it in this folder? Nope. Issue 1. Resources. Here we go. Yeah. So here is actually the original concept art we had for Sally and Nicole. This is actually done by the original artist that we had, Winter, also known as Corona Bright. He's the boyfriend of an old friend of mine from MMO. And funny enough, the picture on the left that's not colored, he actually sent me a picture of him and his girlfriend standing in a hallway doing the poses that he'd use as like references. So he actually used themselves as references for that picture, which is pretty neat. And then and then like once he had to step down, I then had Light step in, and so she sort of, kind of like changed the stylization a bit to more of a Sonic style, and that's how we got these designs.
Well, and I'm for sure that in your future panel appearances there will be possibly more stuff like this that you'll show off. But it's like, this is nice. I like this.
And then the everyday clothing, I just ripped that from Reggie. I really liked Reggie's design. He did tweak it a little bit, but I remember seeing that design a long time ago, before I even met Reggie. And it's like, oh, this is such a cute idea, and so I yoinked it.
And then lo and behold, you got Reggie to work with you.
Yes, I love the covers that she's done. I'd love to have her do some more stuff. And actually, her and I did do a comic for the fan annual that is coming very soon. I'm really excited for it. If I posted a sort of a teasing hint the other day. Some people, I don't think anyone caught it, but there was a post of hers. Yeah, I kind of tweeted it. We'll hopefully wait and see in November. I'm excited.
Woo!
Yep. Yeah, that said,
Actually,
the fan annual.
I'm debating on doing an episode of the podcast on the fan annual. I would love to
Sure,
have
yep.
y'all on for that.
I'm sure the others would like that. That'd be cool. I'd say let's get the next issue out first. The next release. We don't have a solid date yet, just due to kind of a lot of things going on. So we did bring on some new staff members. We're gonna do a formal announcement sometime soon.
Me included.
Yes.
Barely anyone knows that I'm involved now. In which, yeah, for the fan annual, I'm their social media manager, and I'm hoping to get some stuff done very soon. I was just talking about that with Ava not too long ago, and it's like, yeah, I have just a slight feeling that if you guys do share a release date, it'll be at Expo.
Yeah, well, so it's
At
mostly
the very least.
Yeah, it's mostly depending on when we get everything kind of finished up, because our team has been very small. So year one we had a lot of people, but eventually some of the older staff just kind of drifted off, and so it kind of left us rambling a little bit. I don't want to go into there's no bad details. It's just things happen. This happens with projects. People move on. So it's kind of been like me and another person kind of trying to juggle everything while we try to go through life, and things are quite busy. So yeah, I am excited to get the fan annual out. I am really proud of all the work. There's some amazing stuff from fan creators. And those kind of probably more for that actual episode. I just kind of love the idea of the fan annual because it kind of taps into that idea of just giving everybody that chance to kind of make something, because you never know where some might end up. Like we saw with maybe not the best example, but Other M. That was a fan comic that Ian and a bunch of others worked on, and now a lot of people who worked on Other M have worked on Archie and IDW, which is pretty neat. So you never know how things will go, and I think just kind of giving people the chance to make something is really fun.
I remember back where I was, where I requested to ask Ian to do a Other M mini, and he shot that down immediately.
I am not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no. If some folks don't know exactly, if some folks don't know, oh no, wait. I think I'm thinking of something else. Although I'm fairly certain JCR has appeared in the Bumblecast a few times. I'm fairly certain.
I did questions before I left, but
yeah.
The less said about what happened there, the better.
Sure. Well, if we still have the time with Ava, JCR, this is where you say if we have any more time.
Oh wait, I think we do. Is the recording still going well?
Yes. We are basically we are basically 1 hour and 8 minutes of recording.
So is there anything else that you have a feeling to talk about, you guys? Floof and Lord M, do you have any questions you still want to ask Ava?
I'll let Lord M go first. If not, then I can go to the original plan that I had with Ava earlier.
You go first.
Okay.
I'm still.
Are you sure? It's probably going to take a little bit longer than what you probably have.
I'm correcting my thoughts, by the way. I had a question.
Okay, then. Well, then collect your thoughts as much as you're able to.
Thanks.
And then in that case, then yeah. So okay. So in that case, because again, since I'm here and since Ava's here and since we're both here, I said that twice. I think it'd be cool to talk about how I got involved in their shenanigans and everything. Yeah. So like, okay. So I remember this clearly. So this was during like the earliest. I think it was like my first year, like after having joined like Tails Channel and a bunch of other places, like in 2022. So this was after Frontiers had come out and like the game had still been like a few months out at that time. And I think it was just after I had already like confirmed myself for going to San Diego Comic-Con in 2023. And I had found out that not only is IDW returning with an IDW Sonic panel, but for the first time ever, as far as I knew going forward with that, they were going to have an actual piece of IDW-based merchandise that would only be exclusive to the convention. And since I had been talking about, oh, hey, I'm going to Comic-Con and going to check all this Sonic stuff out, at the time, Tails Channel had basically one of their own at the time had gotten in contact with me to report for them, and this also caught the attention of IDW Sonic News. And it's with that I ended up becoming a reporter for them. Not officially, but I was doing the work for them as a contributor. I wouldn't be hired until like the following year. But amidst all those people who saw some of the posts that I was going to Comic-Con, and also I think I also put it out on Twitter as well. It's like, hey, I'm gonna get these. Would it be cool if some people would want one? I can get them for you if you have the money to do. If you like, just give me a little something, and I promise I'll give you back. And amongst those folks who contacted me,
Dun dun dun! It was me.
There we
Deal.
go. There we go. I knew you would have said something. I was just yeah. So I had gone into contact with Ava for the first time. And we no wait, question mark, question mark, question mark. No. I'm remembering it all wrong. No, we were already in contact well before then. It's just that you had noticed that I was going to Comic-Con and was like, yeah.
Yeah, we talked a little bit at Refo that summer.
Yes. Yes, because I'm looking back at it now. Our earliest conversation was November 20. Wow, are you kidding me? November 2022. Wow.
Get it? You two are both very old.
They are
Shut up, man.
Hey, I run this pod. I'm joking.
Fine, but yeah. So yeah, and then we just kind of like talked for just a little bit here and there. It looks yeah, and then I did try to help with a few other things in particular, but none of them really worked out. Unfortunately, I tried my hardest to do some things, but all in all, I was basically able to help Ava with a favor. We were already friends to begin with. It's just that Ava was amongst those friends of mine where it's like I talk to a lot of them just because I'm in Revolution. It's like they'll see me, they'll recognize me from a few places here and there, and it's like, but like no, it's after the Comic-Con I helped Ava get Tangle and Whisper, and a Sonic, but it was mainly just Tangle and Whisper. Is that Ava was going to give me back something. I didn't know what it would be at the time. I was like, like I don't mind whatever you do. I'm just happy to help a friend out. And that's pretty much the same thing with all the other people I've helped so far over the years. And I will continue to do so in the future. Which, I should definitely probably, you know what? It'll also definitely be a promise to you, JCR. If you need anything from like a convention I'm going to, I'd be happy to help out.
That would be awesome.
Even commissioning artists.
What the worst part about living in North Carolina is that there's like pretty much no conventions. Like, I don't know if anyone else in here has ever been to North Carolina, but it's just,
I have a friend who lives in North Carolina. I'm not sure if that really counts, but
it was, I guess that could count.
Well, probably. I just don't really talk to them anymore, sadly. But all in all, it's like, but yeah. So Ava then decided to come at me and just say, "Is like, hey, I think you can hand your character over." And didn't really. I don't really think I don't think I knew what it would be for at the time. I think it was just like I just gave you him, and I would just see as like. I think at the time, right? I think what was going to happen, what I thought would happen, was that I was thinking that you were just going to commission some artists to have drawn him and such as like a gift. But lo and behold, you technically did do that, but in a completely different fashion than I was expecting. And to be honest, it's been so long since then. I could try to look back at some of our old conversations and probably not remember like the full story. I'm just going off of my own memory, which is probably bad. But I gave Ava my character, and Ava put him in the project. Just as like a one-time thing. It's like, as a one-time thing, I thought it was that. Like, I just thought, oh, hey, look at that, how funny, he got captured. It's like, amidst all of these other characters, and Bite, because like Bite, Abigail Oz's Bite was like the big like character to have appeared in this thing. I was just happy to be along for the ride. And then I saw he showed up again, and then again, and then again, and then he got a speaking role, and it's like, what are you doing? What have you? This was not part of the bargain. It was just a one-off thing. What are you doing? And it's like, I didn't realize that it meant that much to you. But it's like, also for the consistency of the story, so it also makes sense. But it's also just like, I didn't think like this little thing that I would do for my friends would have led to this. I just think it's like, it's why I'm happy that while there are some things I wish I could have done for you. Like, there was this one thing I know you wanted from the Sonic Symphony, but I wasn't able to get it for you. But despite all that, there was a bunch of other things I did get for you, and it still worked out in some capacity. Basically, I'm just very thankful for, helping you without really thinking about like anything in return. Because that's really what I don't really expect. It's like, I promise I am just doing this to help friends out, to get some of the stuff that like, and plus it's better my friends than the scalpers. So
right now.
Yeah. And
Scalpers are sneaky.
What?
Yeah, I am happy with having helped you out. I'm happy that we got to meet each other, and I'm happy you still continue to utilize my character in some ways. It's very fun. It's been very silly. It's led to a bunch of really great jokes between us, and it's going to be it's and I would say it's sad to know that this is the last issue coming out for New Roads. But I know that you said you did want. I know you told me that you wanted to utilize some of these background characters a little bit more in future projects, just depending on how you go about them. So it's like, if it'll be just as much a surprise to see my character return as much as any of the other characters.
Yeah, I pitched something.
Huh?
If that's there's when you say like going back to it, may I pitch something?
Pitch something. Pitch something to Ava.
Yeah. So since this the next issue is the final issue, correct? If I heard you right, Floof?
I was told if I recall, New Roads is meant to only be 3 issues, right, Ava? Or secret 4th issue. Oh.
I do have like other ideas because like I wrote a lot of background information for them. I might do it, but I'm not sure yet.
Wait, the secret 4th issue could actually be real? Wait, I was just joking. Wait.
The secret 4th issue. The secret 4th issue is real.
I was saying,
like, when I wrote all of this information, I was like, I have like a lot of background information. There is more room for other stuff, but for now, this is going to be a 3-issue thing. I might continue, but it'd be like a slightly different arc. Other things here or there. Maybe. I'm not even trying to be cheeky. Like, it's a big maybe.
I see. And even then, it's like, even though you still want to make stories and everything. So it's like it doesn't matter if this one isn't going to continue. Like, certain stories have to end. Like, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again unless you really want to. But it's like you have other ideas that you want to push out there, and it's like I'm interested to see it. Like, you said you had an original idea you want to do?
Yeah,
yes, let me see that.
Yeah, I am in the works and like talk with others about it. It's a little slow because I'm having to deal with some other things going on. But I'm hoping once that's all cleared up, I can get more progress and talk about it.
And then back to what JCR was saying about the pitch.
Would you be interested in doing a Tangle and Whisper audio show? New Roads audio show? You said that you had a lot of ideas, and I think there's a better way to expand. I would be this is not me putting any pressure, but I would love to help you produce that if you decide to go down an audio show route, where you just get to like do a little like when I was originally making some idiots, it was originally going to be a movie, but I realized I could fit a lot more into a TV show than I could a movie. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So if you ever yeah, would you be interested in making revisiting Tangle and Whisper for New Roads in like different medias, like an audio show or like a little like mini like animatic series?
That's a very funny thing to say, actually, JCR, because Ava.
So I do have dub stuff in the work. I'm jumping around a little bit because we have a dub that we're working on, and there could maybe be something for some of the background stuff, just because this kind of goes into how a lot of work that goes into making comics like this, because like, we don't have a full team. That's one of the things I talk about with the ASR crew, where there could be a lot of ideas, but trying to actually execute and develop everything can be very hard and time consuming at the balance. What can be put out. I could maybe see something as like almost a prequel, maybe, because we do kind of gloss over the backstory a bit. That could maybe be something. We can maybe talk more about it like another time, but maybe it just kind of depends on who can we get to help with it.
I would be more than happy to have my production company Scuff Studios help out if you are interested. But yeah, I do have to say, what you and a lot of people have done for New Roads, I think it is really inspiring, especially in this next generation of Sonic fans. Giving your own huge creative take is a massive thing, and the fact that you've been able to translate it as well as you have for it to be as well received as it has been, that must like feel amazing for you, doing it, like how massive it's became.
Yeah, I'm surprised at like the span of people who have liked it. I can't give some names for reasons, but I am surprised at the there are certain people who have approached me who I never would have expected to hear from and getting compliments from them. It's surprising. That said, there is a usual crowd. No, actually, no. Even some of the usual crowd giving me some compliments. I still get some people like, oh, this is blah, 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 but for the most part, yeah, I'm kind of surprised how well received it's been. Especially because it's like I was really scared to show off these new characters, thinking, oh, you know, there's gonna be some people who are mad about X, Y, Z. But I'm surprised at how well received everything's been. It's surprising, and I do hope that it does inspire more people to make things. Like I have had preference on people like, oh yeah, you inspired me for this or that or the other, or oh, you inspired me to just check out Archie, which is really neat. I never. It's kind of hard to think about. It's like kind of hard to wrap my head around it a little bit. Because for me, I'm just being a silly goober on the internet writing a comic book for characters that Sega has somewhat abandoned. Um, watch me just horribly date this podcast though, because we all hear the rumors of Sonic Blitz, and for all we know, maybe there is going to be Archie stuff added. We'll see, but.
If that happens, I will get in my Silver costume I wore for Frankie's "I Am All of Me" collab, and I will dance around as Silver for the entire time.
I mean, the Sonic Beat stuff. I mean, they say that Sawi, Nico, and those characters could show up because they technically canon, and they also are part of Beyond to Sega. Like, just play Sonic Pinball, bonus, and you see them there.
Yeah.
They are canon basically.
It's hard to say because like I see what. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's hard to say if they'll actually include them because I could see how just it's kind of a monkey paw situation where Sega's kind of gone in and cleaned up a lot of things over the past few years, and that's kind of just monkey paw. Yeah, they've cleaned up the franchise, they've made it cool again. There's a lot more merchandise, but at the same time, that means sort of doing janitorial duties, and I feel like a lot of the old stuff has kind of caught the crossfire, and it's sort of it's like a large fairness of yeah, Archie may not be around, but also neither is Fleetway, neither is the old manga. A lot of that's just gone, and we still have mainline characters we don't see much. Like we don't see Blaze and Silver much outside of like these side games. We haven't seen Honey in forever. Honey's one of my favorite characters, and I want her to come back. And I remember when she showed up in the Amy miniseries, I messaged Ian. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you for including her. And he's like, oh no, that was someone else. I'm like, still, thank you. Just any kind of Honey representation is great.
She back for now. Also, they show up. I don't remember the name. I think Dana, Suanas. I don't remember the name. They're supposed to be like a beta version of either Amy or someone else, but that also show up in the comic.
It's cool to see like other these characters like show up more, and I hope we'll do see more of them. But yeah, I mean, at least with Blitz, it makes sense because they need to have a lot of cards and a lot of characters, and that means they can kind of dip into the banks and pull out some stuff. And I feel like if they are going to actually bring these characters back to some extent, a small card game is a great starting point because it's just like a low. It's like a low, like low cost, low gamble. In case people may not react well to it, it's just a side game. Don't worry about it. But it's kind of a win-win where people do like it, then that might, spark them to do more with it. We'll see though. It'd be nice to see them come back.
I believe Sat AM is available to stream on Paramount Plus.
I want to have the annual one on
I have. Yeah, I have the DVD, so I haven't checked. Yeah, physical media. Yeah. So I hope I've answered enough questions, or at least made it.
Yeah, no,
is there anything that you want to cover, Ava, that we haven't covered already?
That's. I think we covered everything. Investing gold, buy crypto, buy.
So what is it? So New Roads is still being worked on, and but it will be ending soon. However, you do have another. You do have an original project that you're going to be working on, and despite I think what did you say two canceled projects? I think. Let's not forget that
I have a lot of canceled projects.
You have a lot of canceled projects, but I know you talked about two specifically today. But let's not forget. Yes, you're working with Archie Sonic Online at the moment, and you're also working with the Sonic the Hedgehog fan annual. So despite that, we will still see a lot from you anyways, which is good.
I actually, real quick, I also have one of my very first projects. So I posted about this years ago now, but there was another project I was working on. This predates all my other projects, and it's one of the ideas that it didn't make me cringe. It's a really fun idea. It's called Tangle and Whisper in Medieval Madness.
Medieval?
It's still being worked on because it's been It's been canceled like 3 times now, but we're now finally working on it. It is a silly idea I had. We have halved the amount of pages it was going to be because it's going to be a 2-part special, but it kind of hit that issue of it dragged on too long, and so I found a great way to sort of end things, and I'm excited to see it being worked on. I'm getting some help from Ravenseeker and D. DD. They're all helping out. I got some other people helping as well. Reggie's helping with it. There's going to be some interesting cameos. Some of the other people who I wanted to include are going to be in it that kind of couldn't fit in the new roads. Um, I don't have a solid date for it. I might even try to release like part one just as like a teaser, but like before we kind of kick things off properly. But now that the fan annual's over, we're going to focus on trying to get Medieval Madness going as well. It's going to be handled by a different crew from the usual New Roads people. These are people who are just kind of who like the idea and wanted to help see it finished. So I hope we'll have this later in 2026. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Man, I'm turning 20 next year. That kind of makes you think.
And 27 next year.
I'm the funny number, but it also doesn't help.
21.
But yeah, basically, case in point, AvaArctic has a lot of projects that they're still working on and are getting out there. So please stay tuned.
And there's one more thing. Lord M had a question, Floof.
Two questions. First off,
you finally got your thoughts in.
Yeah. I was waiting for all of you to finish off. The first question: what will happen to Yanowin in Whisper New Roads? Because she showed up in a few panels.
So Lanolin's not going to be in it. So the few pages that she's in, that was part of a idea of like me and Starly wanted to collab on something, and Starly has a very busy schedule, so we thought a sort of pre-sequel, sort of like filler arc between issue 1 and 2 would be really fun. It it's sort of meant to take place before everything, but it's also during that large time gap that we see after the metal virus, because like everything kind of happens after the metal virus. A lot of characters we aren't sure what they're doing, but I'm not going to really spoil, but at the same time, don't expect Landon to show up because she's kind of helping with the restoration efforts at the time.
Oh,
around the time of New Roads would be around. Again, this is before. So the whole thing is during Chow races while Sonic, Amy, Tails, and the others are away. That's what I think Ava's told me.
Yes, like this all takes place around Chow races because that was when I started reading, and also that is when there's just not a lot going on with some characters. This is sort of like plausible filler as to what they could be doing.
So this is definitely well before Lanolin even gets Tangle and Whisper on to her team. Before they'd even decided that the Diamond Cutters would be their name. And this would also be well before test run, so this would be before we even get the reveal of the new Restoration HQ at the time. So this is like the first days of their new establishment. So after Jules' first days of being director and everything. But apart from that. But yes, sorry, no, I was just pointing that out just in case the audience wanted to know. And then Lord M, you had another question?
Not anymore. That basically responded everything.
Okay.
Well then, are you sure?
Yes, pretty sure.
All right.
Ava, I hope you had a great time on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And if you want to come back anytime or even become a co-host, that's always on the table. Our podcast is a disaster. Anybody can become a co-host. Just don't give me a heart attack every time you make a tweet.
And then just before we do end things off, just because I think this would also be beneficial here, JCR. Ava, if you could kindly direct us to where the audience can find you, out in the internet.
Yes, I will post these. So you can find me on Twitter. It is not called X because X is a stupid name. But you can find me on Twitter, Ava the Arctic Fox. You can also find me on DeviantArt. I use DeviantArt as sort of like a archive/gallery. It just kind of sucks that both Twitter and DeviantArt kind of taken over by AI crap. But unfortunately, DeviantArt's kind of like the best backup I have until I make my own website. But yeah, those are the main ones. You can also find me on Blue Sky. I can copy and paste links that can be put into the description if that helps.
For some reason, the podcast still can't put links in descriptions. So we'll just do if you've seen our pinned tweet with all the podcast co-hosts, that's probably the way it'll be in the thing. I have no idea why it hasn't yet. I did make the account this like at the end of December, so like who knows if that's played a part in it. But yeah. But again,
Yeah, like if you just look up like new roads, like Tangle and Whisper new roads, you'll find me. It's pretty easy.
Well, in that case, I will also put it out there for anyone who else wants to know. Stay tuned for Ava's future appearances out there, such as the Sonic Revolution online event
this will be
happening
uploaded
literally
after this. This will be uploaded on Tuesday after the Revolution. The Revolution's this weekend, aka the 25th and the 26th, right?
as we're recording this.
Yeah.
Revolution, yeah, is this coming weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This
the
episode will be
25th.
uploaded on October 28th because we have the Shadow Gens 2-parter coming out this week, Floof.
Then let's edit this part out and.
Oh, it's gonna stay in. Remember, this is the podcast of disaster. All bloopers are in.
I hate you. Anyway. Then stay tuned for Ava's future appearance at Sonic Expo. At Sonic Expo. What days, Ava?
So
I believe
I think
November.
like November 7th through the 9th. I think the panel's on the 8th. Sorry, I feel bad because like other people were handling the panel. I don't have all the information for the panel. I think it is on that Saturday though. I have to check.
Like you don't have no, you don't need to spoil. Just the date is fine. Like the information will come out later, I'm sure. But yeah, stay tuned in case anyone is going to Sonic Expo Dallas. Which again, there's also if anyone still has available room in their luggage to stuff me in there, that'd be great.
How short are you, Floof? If you can fit in a luggage.
I'm not.
6 flat for reference.
What?
I'm 6 foot flat.
Oh, I'm 5'11".
Short.
So I guess I'm still the shortest.
I'm literally not even an inch different from you. Not even like an inch or two. Are you kidding me?
So that means I'm still the shorter one in the podcast, huh?
Don't worry, 5'11" is the universal thing for. I'm actually very short.
Well, good thing that we don't
can't
have anybody being 6'7".
We have fun on the podcast.
Apparently we do. But in any case,
we hope this episode doesn't have any echoes.
I'm gonna choke you. I'm gonna choke you and throw you off a bait.
I have now pissed off both of my co-host members. I'm gonna get thrown into a bin with Lanofish, am I? If that's everything, well, thank you for watching the podcast of disaster. As always, be good to yourselves, others, and mothers, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
whee!